We are watching this morning a massive move on the 10-year treasury. We are now up to 4.975 on the 10-year treasury. Yesterday, we hit 8% on the Mortgage News Daily average survey of mortgage rates, and highly likely we're going to go beyond that when they settle their average later today. Let's take a live shot at the 10-year treasury today. Right now, look, literally going up before your very eyes, 4.971. It's just like incredible what we're looking at in terms of mortgage rates. Remember, the 10-year treasury more or less dictates the 30-year mortgage. You add about 300 points. Currently, it's variable. Right now, it's actually more like 309, 310. And so if we close right now at this number, mortgage rates at the end of the day would be about 8.05. But we are now above 8. We had been above 7 for about 2 months, and now we are at 8. As I told you at the beginning of the year, we're going to hit 8, and here we are. I mean, this is just an amazing push higher, This is the housing story of today. Everyone's focused on these court cases out in the Midwest, but interest rates are the bigger story. And we're going to get back into the court cases later in this broadcast. But let's cut to Diane Swank, who I'm not really sure I'm familiar with her, but she had she's a chief economist at KPMG. Okay, so that sounds like she knows what she's talking about. One has to wonder how this Arctic blast to the mortgage winter plays out. Clearly freezes even more people who are locked or paid in full price, which diminishes supply as the same time as it diminishes demand. Prices are going to be determined by even a smaller number of homes listed. Do prices finally have give or not? And so what she's basically saying here is it's more of the same, but even worse. The beatings will continue until morale improves, basically. As interest rates get higher, once again, the advantage of staying where you are at your 3.7% rate increases because you're paying that back with cheaper dollars. You're getting wealthier if you own a home. And then it gets harder to buy a home and transactions go down. I'm going to talk about existing home sales because existing home sales are coming up later today at 10 o'clock. I know Mike Zuber over at One Rental at a Time. And if you're not watching One Rental at a Time from time to time, you should be. I know he's been rooting for under 4 million transaction. I think he thought it was going to come last month, but it didn't. And the consensus this month is 3.9. So we will see what transactions come out. I think that comes out at 10 a.m. But this is the highest mortgage rates have been since the year 2000. Here's Fannie Mae on this. We expect higher mortgage rate environment to continue to dampen housing activity, which means sales. So if you're an agent out there right now, it's going to be tough to, make some transactions and further complicate affordability going into 2024. Doug Duncan at Fannie Mae. Thank you, Lance Lambert, for the quote. So when you look at that, I got a question on the YouTube yesterday, I think, or the day before. Sorry, ambulance going by here in beautiful downtown Plymouth. So this is a really bad time to become an agent. No, this is an incredibly exciting time to become an agent. And once again, if you try to time your entrance into the market when things are good, then you're going to get smushed by all of us who have stayed through the bad times and continued to build our brand. And then now we're ready for the wave to crest, right? So when things always change, and remember, this is a career opportunity. It's not something, if you start today, it's probably not, unless you get into like apartment rentals in a college town like in Boston, it's probably not something that you're going to be making money from immediately. So, just keep that in mind. And now's the time to build your brand so that when the wave does come, you're in the position to already have been in people's minds as the agent they want to call. By the way, I've been loving your comments as we've occasionally got a comment during the live stream, and if you want to pop in a comment, there's a pretty good chance I'll read it during today's live stream. So thank you very much for your comments. When you look at, again, Mortgage News Daily chart, we are looking at mortgage rates going back to 2000. I think it is July or April of January. What is it? It's actually sometime in 2000, October of 2000, I believe it is. When you look at this chart, we have gone. This chart goes back to 1973 or something like that. Let me just bring this up. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see it there. There we go. When you look at this chart, we've just gone straight up for the last couple of years since January of 2021. Complete coincidence, I'm sure, with the change of administrations. But when you also look at it, 8% is kind of in the middle of this range. It's actually on the lower side of this range. The reason why we're in this wacky interest rate environment situation is because the Federal Reserve artificially kept interest rates low for like 15 years. And when you do that, eventually there's a price to pay because the Fed devalued our currency over that 15 years, and people got used to 3.2% mortgages, and tons of people piled into mortgages under 5%. I showed you that chart about a week and a half ago. So it's very difficult to unwind the rate lock situation that we're in. Incredibly difficult to unlock that. Mortgage News Daily, just another worst day since type of day. In other words, it seems like every other day it's a record. Every other day. What is feeding this? Even when we have so-called good economic news, and you know how Wall Street works, good news is bad news is good news. The bottom line, markets are increasingly willing to react to any new implications for Treasury issuance. What is Treasury issuance, Jack? That means debt issued by the federal government. And they're thinking we're going to be borrowing more. They're thinking we're going to be borrowing more. That's why why are we thinking about borrowing more? Because like complete idiots, instead of the federal government locking in long-term rates like you did when you bought your house, you locked in at 4.3 for 30 years because you knew that was a good deal. Instead, the government bought like loans or bonds or whatever that have to be refinanced every 6 or 7 years on average. And so instead of getting 4.3 at 30 years, like you should have, instead the government has to refinance every 6 or 7 years. And most of the debt that we acquired over the last 15 or 20 years has to be refinanced fairly soon in the next couple of years. So, if you think inflation is going down, if you think interest rates are going down anytime soon, based upon our current borrowing and the fact that we have to refinance things in the past, probably not. No. No, we're too busy mortgaging our grandchildren's future. Yeah, too busy mortgaging our grandchildren's future. Way to go. And unless there's some type of massive productivity bounce to the American economy, and I don't know where that would come from. Artificial intelligence, maybe, I don't know. Something akin to what we saw with the birth of the internet in the 1990s. Some type of massive technological event. I don't see how we get out of this anytime soon in terms of our debt problem and interest rates. So if you think our interest rates are going to go back to 4%, you're smoking something. Let me know what it is. Housing starts. That was yesterday. I didn't understand housing starts. Housing starts went up even though building confidence went down. I didn't get that yesterday. I don't know if anybody understands that. Today, we're looking at initial jobless claims, of course, it's a Thursday. Existing home sales, as I said, that is at 10 a.m. with leading economic indicators also at 10 a.m. Federal Reserve Chairman Powell speaks at noon today. I might join in live on that. We'll see. But he is speaking. I'm sure he'll make plenty of sense as he navigates by the stars under cloudy skies. His quote, paraphrase, to learn more. about what in the world he is thinking. Once again, I look at the Federal Reserve and I say they're doing an awful job. Pretty much everyone says that, right? Most policymakers say we could do a better job. I ask, why is the government doing the job at all? Why can't we let interest rates be set by the market? If we had interest rates set by the market, we would not have had artificially low interest rates for 15 years, which got ourselves into this problem, right? So, why do these people who like there's a dozen or 20 of them, however many, they operate in this star chamber? They're so filled by hubris and the expertise of their elitism that they think they can know. It's like a Soviet 5-year plan thing. I'm sorry, I'm getting on a rant, but you understand what I'm saying. Why do they think they're smarter than the infinite number of market decisions that are made every single day in the American economy? That doesn't make any sense. The market is smarter than any individual or any small group of individuals, no matter whatever colleges they went to and or how elite they might be, right? The market is smarter. It is always smarter than you and or any small group of people. Because it makes infinite number of decisions basically every single day. It's almost as if we have this Soviet Union 5-year plan situation, except it's not a 5-year plan. If it was a 5-year plan, it would almost be better. Instead of let's just flow with the flow. Let's look at some lagging data and then we'll make some policy decisions. It's like a 3-month plan is what we have actually with the Federal Reserve. Okay, getting to our very exciting and red herring court case out in Kansas City. Training on trial as plaintiffs challenge commission strategies. I am not going to get into this today. Why? Because I really am starting to become more and more convinced that the case in Kansas City doesn't matter that much. Doesn't matter that much. It does matter to the future of NAR. It does matter to the future of NAR. And I think if it matters for anything, it matters whether NAR continues to be in a monopoly against agents, where they continue to force agents to be members of NAR in order to get access to the multiple listing service. I think it definitely matters for that. And it matters to find out how much they're going to get paid, how much they're going to have to pay, because I don't think they're going to win. Maybe they win. I suppose that's possible. It's definitely possible they win, but it's not likely, right? Not likely. So I just think that this case means less and less. So I want to bring up the chalkboard, and let's see, we haven't done this before, so let's see if we can bring up the chalkboard and talk about the road to banning cooperative commission. We haven't done this before. Let's see if I can find my magic pen. Here it is here. We had the must cooperate rule, and that was the rule for a very long time. It was verboten to break the rule. I've showed you the email that I got when I listed a condo in 2019. I listed it for $0. I got this angry email from the MLS. You can't do that, Jack. You have to offer something. I offered $1 and I complied with the rule. And this was the rule forever, or for a really long time, right? Then we had Bright MLS, which is the second largest MLS in the country, and the Northwest MLS go to an optional system where you could, if you wanted to, offer $0. We then had Anywhere or Anywho or Reology or whatever they're called now, and Remax settle this big lawsuit case, right? For $85 and $55 million or whatever the money was. And then out of the blue, NAR changes the rule, the rule that they had hung on to for dear life for years. They just changed it about 2 weeks ago. Oh yeah, you can offer $0. For forever, they said you couldn't do that, but now everything is going to be optional. right? That was the idea when NAR came out with this change of policy 2 weeks ago. It became crystal clear when the Department of Justice issued their MLS PIN letter of interest that the optional rule was not going to cut it for them, was not going to cut it for them. It became crystal clear that they were looking for a ban on cooperating commissions. In other words, the seller would not be allowed to offer a commission to the buyer side agent. That is a much different, it's actually a simpler world, but it's a much different world than optional. When it's optional, there could be all sorts of factors, but an outright ban is a completely different situation altogether. So it became clear when the Department of Justice issued that letter that they were looking for a ban, which we covered here on this live stream or somewhere on this channel. Now, it's been something that the judge in the case in Kansas City could also order. Now, I've always discounted this as a possibility. That would be kind of far-reaching, as a judge in the middle of the country issuing a national order to ban the seller from paying buyer-side agents. I just didn't think the odds of that were very strong. But I guess it's a possible outcome from the current court case. I still think that is unlikely. Then there's a third path to the road of banning cooperative commission. And this is something that I've only mentioned maybe once, maybe twice. And it's the Federal Trade Commission. The Federal Trade Commission. I was very fortunate to get some contact from one of you yesterday, from a viewer in Florida. Barry from Florida called me up, and we talked about this. And he's put me on to a broker that had a YouTube channel video a couple of days ago, about a week ago. And I want to bring this up because he explains how the Federal Trade Commission could ban sellers from paying buyer-side brokers and could do that fairly easily. Let's bring this up here. It was a really enlightening little video here. I think it's about a minute. This is James DeWiggins. James DeWiggins, all credit to him, from Next Home Elite Realty. All right, here we go, James.
Signs an executive order called the...
By the way, he's talking about President Biden signing an executive order authorizing the FTC to take this action if they want to.
The Promoting a Competition in America Economy Plan. Section 5, subsection H. To address persistent and recurrent practices that inhibit competition, the chair of the FTC, in the chair's discretion, is also encouraged to consider working with the rest of the commission to exercise the FTC's statutory rulemaking authority, subsection 6, unfair tying practices or exclusionary practices in the brokerage or listing of real estate. It's literally stated in the executive order that the FTC has complete authority to come in and rewrite the rules. So I want to be clear with this statement. What that means in simplistic terms is, let's just hypothetically say that we win these cases. Go NER, go defendants, great, we won.
Probably not going to happen.
Here's the problem. The FTC is sitting on the sidelines. I've spoken to a former FTC lawyer who was literally there, is sitting on the sidelines, and so is the DOJ, watching these cases, as you just saw yesterday with the DOJ now intervening within the proposed settlement of MLS PIN. They're sitting there watching this. It makes no sense politically for the DOJ in an election year to interfere with this if the civil cases will end up causing the result they're looking for. Why?
I actually disagree with that. I think it makes a lot of political sense for the DOJ to come in now, because right now we're facing a massive affordability crisis, as we've always covered here. So if you want to look like a hero, Biden administration, not to give you any ideas, but if you want to look like a hero, you could come in and say, the Biden administration is taking action today to make purchasing a house more affordable. And what we're going to be doing is cracking down on the cartel, Wall Street Journal word, to reduce the commission real estate agents make. Now, that won't be popular with real estate agents, but it will be popular with basically everybody else in the country.
Why would you? It'd be stupid. Nobody wants to do that. But if they don't get the result they're looking for, what do you think the FTC is going to do?
Step in and take charge.
Right. So the point behind all of this is this industry needs to get a grip on the way things are going to go. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's either the civil cases or the FTC. And as I said, now it could be that we get all the cards lined up for us.
All right, so excellent analysis. James DeWiggins, he's from Next Home Realty, and maybe I'll link up his YouTube channel or that video in the description to this live stream. Maybe I'll do that for you. Yeah, I will do that for you. That would be easy to do. All credit to James DeWiggins for digging up the executive order from the Biden administration, which authorizes the FTC to actually ban the seller from paying buyer side commissions. And that could be the way that we get to the road where we ban commissions, right? Ban cooperative commissions. The DOJ is looking at it. The judge could do it, but it seems as also the FTC could do it. And that trend is going in that way. If you can't see that, then get your head out of the sand, because that's definitely where the trend's going. For sure. So we did not get any comments today. By the way, I want to thank you all for making this channel successful. I've been watching very eagerly the monetization of the channel. Not that I would make a lot of money from the channel, at least anytime soon. And I probably would make more money from my legal settlement that I made, my check for the class action settlement, $3.31. Still haven't cashed it. But I've been watching the monetization of this channel, and we were at 3,972 public watch hours yesterday. And somehow overnight, we have hit the magic 4,000 number, and we just got monetized. So thank you so much for making that happen. I'm astounded that we hit that number. I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were saying, like, Jack, is that going to be a real revenue stream for you? And I'm like, no, I don't even think it will pay for the electricity to run the computer. Except for maybe 2-3 years from now, it might be something. So, but more than anything, it's this okay, it's legit, right? You hit over 1,000 subscribers, which we hit a long time ago. And now we're over 4,000 watch hours. So thank you. Thank you so much. No, I'm not going to be revenue sharing with the audience, because literally I think I'll make like $3 or $4 next month, but and probably not even enough to trigger a check from YouTube. But nonetheless, thank you so much. Good morning and thank you, Sharon. That is it for today. Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride with your mortgage rates. We'll keep you posted, and we'll be back tomorrow, Friday at 8:30 a.m. Have a great day. Go make some money.